Good morning, friends. I welcome you all for another lecture on the course Computer Architecture and Organization. In the last lecture, I discussed about the role of stacks. So in that class, I discussed about what is a stack, what are the different operations performed on the stack, and what is a CPU register which tracks the stack locations, and how we can perform push and pop operations with the auto increment and auto decrement addressing or related instructions. And also we can observe that how we can do both the push and pop operations in most of the safest way. Because on that day I clearly told you that stack is nothing but a set of locations. In that set of locations, one end we are adding the data, in the same end itself we are retrieving the data from the stack. And other end of the stack was fixed. We know that we must take care retrieving the information from an empty stack as well as pushing of a new data onto the stack which already filled with the data. To avoid these error conditions, with the help of certain routines, we can go and access the information from the stack as well as we can go and write information on the stack. So that's what we discussed in the last class. And one more point also I discussed in the last class, that is the stack is very useful for us to link up main programs and subprograms. How it will link a subprogram with main program, that now we can go and discuss in this class, along with how the stack is helpful for us once an interrupt is received by the CPU. That is also discussed. At the end we discussed about the another data structure, that is a queue, and the differences between stack and queue. These things we are going to discuss in this class. Right. So first we can go and see how we link a subprogram with the main program with the help of a stack. Let you can assume this is some main program. It has these are the set of instructions which are present in it. The starting location of this main program is some 2000H, and somewhere else I have a subprogram which was stored from the location address 3000H. We know that the subprogram is a part of main program. We will write the subprograms in order to reduce the memory requirement for our program. How we can reduce memory requirement for a program? By writing of a subprogram separately from a main program. Generally, we are using a subprogram. Subprogram is a routine which is used to do a specific operation or a task. That task will run in our main program some good number of times. For example, this subprogram I need at this point, I need the same subprogram here, I need the same subprogram here. Let you can assume in this main program I need a subprogram 3 places. If this subprogram I incorporated here, here and here, no doubt the main program size can be increases. Once main program size is increases, no doubt it occupied space in the memory also increases. It is a disadvantage to us. To overcome that, we write separately main program and subprogram. Then here we try to identify the role of stack to link this subprogram with main program. You can go and verify that. In the execution of this main program, first the PC points this address. Then my CPU accesses this instruction from the memory. If I execute this, at the same time the PC points this instruction address. After completion of first instruction execution, the CPU go and get the second instruction. Like this, the program execution was happened in our system. We know that. So in this program execution, our processor execute this main program up to this point without any difficulty. But here I want this subprogram. For that, I write an instruction like this: call sum 3000H. That means call a subprogram into main program. The subprogram was presented at a location 3000H. Fine. In order to get the next instruction from our location 3000H, that means our execution sequence was changing from this location to this program to this. Before moving our execution from this to this, what we must do is, we must preserve this instruction address somewhere else. Why we have to do this? After completion of this program execution, again we come back to this main program. If we come back to here only, it is possible once we preserve this instruction address somewhere else. This instruction address is nothing but our PC address, because if the processor executes this instruction, that instant the PC points this instruction address. So, before shifting our execution from this point to subprogram, we took the help of a stack. The stack here is used to hold up this instruction address. I repeat, before shifting my execution from main program to subprogram, the next instruction address in the main program, which is nothing but a content of PC, I simply stored in stack. I stored the PC address in the stack by execution of push instruction. Later, I changed my execution to a subprogram. After successful execution of this, again I come back to this. In order to come back to this, again what I have to do is, whatever the value I previously stored on the stack, the same information I retrieved from the stack. That means, at the end of this instruction execution, internally what I have to do is, I do a pop operation. That means again I retrieve whatever the information I previously stored on the stack, the same information I retrieved from the stack. Then and only my execution is again shifted to this. Again, after execution of these set of instructions, again here also I have a same instruction like a previous, call 3000H. Again our execution shifted to this. Before shifting that, this instruction address is preserving on the stack. Again after execution of this service routine, again I come back to this location. Again I do a reverse operation what I done previously on the stack, that is retrieving a top of the stack content by execution of pop. Then our execution is shifted to again this position. Again by running of this, again here also one more time we have an instruction called a 3000H. The same procedure again happens like this. So this is the way we link a subprogram with the main program with the help of a stack. That means before shifting execution from main program to subprogram, I use a stack to preserve next instruction address. That means here I do push PC instruction. Again if I shift my execution from subprogram to main program, again I took the help of stack. There I was doing an operation that is a pop PC. So now I hope you understand how I was linking a subprogram execution with the main program execution with the help of stack. And second thing, how this stack is helpful to us to provide services for the internet. That thing also we can try to understand by taking a small example. Again you can assume, friends, this is a main program. The main program consists a set of instructions like this. These are the instructions which are present in main program. And this main program starts from a location address 2000H. And our process starts the execution of this program instruction by instruction execution. Instruction by instruction execution. Let you can assume at this moment I receive some interrupt from an external device. So that instant what my processor can do is, it stop the current execution of the program at this point. It shift execution to the interrupt service routine, ISR. Our processor shifts the execution to interrupt service routine once it receives an interrupt, because at this point our processor receives interrupt from an external device. Now before shifting our execution from main program to interrupt service routine, what I have to do is, again I took the help of a stack. In that stack I have to preserve this main program information on the stack before shifting execution from main program to interrupt service routine. So what are the different information I have to store on the stack before shifting my execution from main program to interrupt service routine was, the first thing is I have to copy PC value or PC content on the stack. This is the first thing. The second thing is I have to go and copy different register values which already I was used in this program execution. There might be a chance the same registers I can go and use during the execution of the service routine. Definitely the values which already present in the registers are changes. Once you come back from service routine back to the main program, we didn't get our previous values of our registers. That's why to avoid that difficulty, I have to go and copy the register values on the stack itself. The second thing is register values also stored on the stack. That is second one. And third one is, up to this program has certain status. That means up to this instruction execution, the carry may generated and sign of your result is a negative and you didn't get any borrow. That means you didn't get any overflow. These are the conditions of this program. The conditions of program we can call as a status. The status information was present on a status register or a flag register. The third thing what I have to preserve about this main program is status register information. Status registered information. After pushing all these things onto the stack, then and only I can go and calculate this service routine address. After calculating of service routine address, that address was copied onto the PC, then our execution address changing from this to this. Once I successfully executed this interrupt service routine, again I come back to the previous start to program. In order to come back to this, again what I have to do is, whatever the information I was stored previously in the stack before shifting execution order from main program to interrupt service routine, the same information I retrieved back. If I retrieve the same information from the stack in a reverse order, that means first I retrieve the status information, later I retrieve a register values, at the end I retrieve a PC value. Once I know the PC value, then my execution address is changing from this to this. So at that moment, what are the values I have there in a register in past, what are the status information I have in a past, the same information I have in my hand. There is no problem for execution of the rest of the program instructions. So in this occasion also, I took the help of a stack. Now you remember friends, the stack is very helpful to us to provide services for the interrupts as well as to link a subprograms with the main programs. In these two occasions, we took the help of a stack. Now I hope you understand the role of stack in linking a subprogram with the main program as well as to providing the services for the interrupts. And one more important thing, that is, the stack plays a vital role in the execution of a zero operand instructions or zero address instructions. In the last classes, I discussed about basic instruction types. I discussed about 3 operand instructions, 2 operand instructions, 1 operand instructions, and 0 operand instructions. At that incident, I make an application program for a small equation x equal to a plus b multiplied with a c minus d. that particular program was implemented with the help of 3 operand instructions, 2 operand instructions, 1 operand instructions and 0 operand instructions. In case of 0 operand instructions, always we do arithmetic operations on only the top of the stack. That means the stacks plays a vital role in the implementation of an application programs which is in the form of expressions. If you want to make an application program for any expression, that occasion also we took the help of a stack. So the role of stack is very important in our computer systems. Fine. Now I can go and shift to some other topic, that is queues. So basically there are 2 data types we regularly observe in our systems. One is a stack and second one is a queue. Now I try to understand what is a queue, what is the basic operations we are done on queue, and what is the operating principle of a queue. At the end, we try to get the differences between a stack and a queue. Coming to queue. Queue is nothing but data are stored in and retrieved from a queue on FIFO basis. The first thing is queue is another type of data structure. In this, the data is entered as well as retrieved. We know that in a queue, data is entered in one direction and data was retrieved from another direction. The operating principle of queue is first in, first out. FIFO means first in, first out. This is the operating principle of our queue. In queue, new data are added at the back end, that is at higher order address, and retrieved from front, that is nothing but a lower order address of a queue. Like you can assume, this is your queue. This is a queue. These are the different locations which are present in the queue, like this. In this end, I was adding a data element, adding elements. So this is what we can call is back, that is higher order addressing. So this is a queue back. In queue backend, I was adding a data elements, and this is my queue front, which is a lower order address. From this, retrieving elements from the queue. That means there are queue in one end, I was adding data elements. In other end, I was retrieving data elements. And what happens in case of stack? There is no this type of a situation. In case of stack, always data entering as well as retrieving is done in only one end, in another end was always fixed. But coming to this case, it is not like that. In one end, data elements are added, and another end, data elements are retrieved. So this is a basic queue. Now, what is the differences between a stack and a queue? That is the most important thing everyone have to know. So what is the differences between a stack and queue? The first difference is like this. One end of the stack is fixed. That's what already just now I discussed. In a stack, already one end was fixed. There is no data transaction is happened in that end. Only in another end only data was added or a retrieved was happened. The end where we are adding or retrieving a data from a stack, that end we consider as the top of the stack. So that's why here what I am saying is one end of the stack is fixed. So what about queue? Queue case is completely different. In case of queue, in one end we are adding a data elements, in another end we are retrieving a data elements from the queue. That means both ends of queue was active. In one end of a queue, we are adding the data elements to the queue, and in another end, we retrieve the data elements from the queue. What happens in case of stack? In case of stack, one end is fixed, another end is adding of a data elements as well as a retrieving of data elements. So that is the first difference. The first difference, in a stack, one end was a fixed, in another end data was added or data was retrieved. But in case of queue, in one end data was added, in another end data was retrieved. This is the first difference between a stack and a queue. Coming to the second difference. In case of stack, definitely we need only one pointer, that is a stack pointer is needed to address track the locations of a stack. To keep address track all the locations of a stack, what I need is I need a stack pointer. Always we know that the stack pointer points the top of the stack where the last stack related information was stored. So to retrieve or write from or to the stack, we need a pointer which is a stack pointer. That's why we need a single pointer when we are communicating with the stack. But coming to the queue, its case is completely different, because in one end I was retrieving a data, in another end I was adding the data. So that's why definitely here we need two pointers. One pointer points one end where we are retrieving the data, and we need another point where we are adding the data. So what is the second difference? In case of stack, we need only one pointer to address track all the locations of the stack. But in case of queue, we need two pointers. One pointer points the starting where we are adding a data, and we need another point ending where we are retrieving our data. This is the second difference. Go for third difference. The third difference. So the third difference is we are not using any controlling authority. We are not using any controlling mechanism in the queue. What happens is the data is added to your queue. It goes on increasing. It makes a problem to us. It makes a problem to us. What I am saying is we are not using any controlling or the adding of a queue elements. Then what happens is we are still adding a data elements to the queue. What happens is the size of the queue is gradually increases. That makes a problem to us. To overcome this, what we have to do is we took the help of a circular buffer. That's what we can use is the concept of circular buffer. By using of this, we limit the queue. In order to limit the queue, what is the concept we are following is we are following a circular buffer. That means this you can assume this is a queue, this is a starting point, and this is an ending point. In a circular buffer scheme, this starting point linking together. So once you reach to last, if I add any new element, that is happened only at the beginning. So here what we need is we took the help of this circular buffer concept. We can control or we can limit the queue. Otherwise, we are not using any controlling mechanism. If you are still adding a data elements to the queue, what happens is that the size of queue can be increases. That creates a problems to us. So this is the situation for a queue case. Now what is the case for a stack? In case of stack, it is completely depends on user itself. We must take care. We must take care while we are writing a data into the stack as well as we are retrieving the information from the stack. I give a small example for you. Once the stack is full with the data, still if you want to push something onto the stack, what happens is the newly pushed information overwrites on previous existing one. It creates a problem to us. Before pushing an information onto the stack, I must go and verify is there any empty locations present in the stack or not. I have to go and verify it. If I verify a stack, if I identify that some of the locations are empty in the stack, then only I can push new information on the stack. If I identify the stack was full with an information, I didn't go and do any push operation. If I do push operation, what happens is the carrier condition comes under the picture. That means the newly pushed information overwrites on previous existing one. And similarly, if my stack was an empty, nothing there in the stack, no information in the stack, that incident if I do a pop operation, what happens is again I was getting error condition. That's why here we must take care. Writing the information on the stack as well as retrieving the information from the stack, we have to take care. It is a whole responsibility of the user itself. The user has to take care while to use the stack in a program for writing out information as well as retrieving the information. But to control the queue, we took the help of the concept circular buffer. But in case of a stack case, the user must take care writing the information on the stack as well as retrieving the information from the stack. So these are the three differences between a queue and a stack. What's the first difference, guys? In case of a queue, we are using both ends. In one end I was adding a data, in another end I was retrieving a data. But in case of stack, one end was fixed, in another end only I can do writing a data as well as retrieving a data. And the second difference is, for stack, we need only one pointer, which is a stack pointer. But in case of queue, I need two pointers. One pointer points adding of a data elements to the queue, and another pointer points where we are retrieving the data from the queue. And the last one is to limit the queue. We took the help of a circular buffer concept. Otherwise, the queue size is increases by appending of a data or adding of a data. That creates a problems to us. But in case of a stack, the user must take care while writing our data into the stack as well as retrieving the data from the stack. I hope you understand this about the queue concept as well as the stack concept, right? Thank you for patient listening. Thank you.